Hello, Team Absolution fans, and welcome back to Cardfight Cash, Team Absolution's weekly market watch on all things going on in Vanguard. I am your host, Doombringer Griffin, and I'm joined once again by my good friend, the Irish God. Keith, how you doing today?
Doing grand, Ryan. Just coming off an exam and ready to look at some card values.
Well, let's play the premium game. It has been a big 2 weeks for premium. The premium collection got fully spoiled, I believe. We might be missing a couple of things, but with the revival collection now out in America, and most of the premium collection, if not all of it, already spoiled, we've got some big moves this week. Lots of buyouts, lots of interesting changes, lots of subtleties that may not have been as apparent. And we can't also forget that Standard is rolling out releases like mad. We've got new cards, new set announcements over the past few weeks, and there's been a lot of Kagero hype as well, which we covered last week on our Standard cast. Any thoughts about just the overall state of the market before we get started with individual cards, Keith?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head with the premium collection. We got a hell of a dump from Bushy Road. I guess because of Golden Week that's happening in Japan, either right now or was it last week? I'm not really sure on their holidays.
It's a little
But
of everything because they also ended on an Emperor period.
okay. Well, yes. All of that considered, I'm pretty sure they just gave us everything for the rest of the set. So it's the market has been in a big upheaval because of the power level, I think, of premium collection. Everyone is moving in on the new hotness. I think some of the real big winners were Nova Grapplers, has a really good stride. Neo Nectar has an amazing one, and many, many others that I think we're going to be talking about today.
There we are, but let's talk about the cards that are already out that they've certainly affected, and we have to go all the way back to GBTO1. Thankfully, not anything farther back than that today, I don't believe. But boy, oh boy, did we have some moves here. And it starts with Dragonic Overlord, the Cross. $16. Deserving? I'm not so sure. Granted, the new Dote makes a decent argument for bringing back the old Legion himself, and 3 attacks could be a decent finisher, especially with Force 2. You can't ignore that. Plus, the Cross does allow you to bypass Dote's drive loss effect, which is his, if he had any negative points, it would be that. But new Dote looking scary, the Cross jumping up in price, 16 for the Triple R, 51 for the SP. Any initial thoughts here, Keith?
Yeah, I think this was just literally a knee-jerk reaction of just, well, the Cross has Dote in its name, so let me buy the Cross. Rather than, some real, well thought out, oh, we're going to see this really being a thing in tournaments. I don't know if that's going to be the case.
It is up for debate, although you gotta admit, 3 attacks, multiple drive checks, and the ability to retire your entire field if you guard, or get your restands off anyway, really. I mean, you can just do it either way. And you have passive crit with Force 2, assuming you're running Force 2. It might be spicy, but I think this is overall, if you bought into this at the very beginning, you might be able to pull a little bit of value out of it, maybe $5 a card if you bought them at 5, which they were before the buyout. And yeah, you might be able to eke some value out. Will you be able to sell them at 16? I don't think so. That's more of a speculative price. Do the responsible thing, sell 20% off TCG low, and try and move your cards out as quickly as possible. Unless you plan on playing it, in which case, more power to you. Other Set 1 news, Victoplasma up to $6, and Protect Orb at $3.74. I would say, oh, how the mighty have fallen, but it's not like he hasn't been worthless for a good while. I just weep for my $20 Protect Orbs.
Oh, God. That was the time to be alive, wasn't it, being a Kagero player, when Protect Orb was like a $25 double R?
At least it helped me win that tournament.
Yeah.
GBTO2, moving right along. Conquest Dragon, the Triple R, now seeing a bit of a downfall, just a few cents, down to $8 from its earlier position. Keith, now that we know what Conquest's new stride does, do you see any justification it should still be this high?
No, this card should go all the way back down to $2 to $3. And Conquest was, if not the worst, one of the worst strides in that set, and I am highly disappointed. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Rain Elemental Tier is in recovery from its buyout, still up at $7.50, but trending downwards from its original $8 price point. If you're looking to fill out your Great Nature SP collection, Managarmor is at $13.47, despite some of the hype surrounding Great Nature's, recent ability to get tops and its interesting prospects in premium, particularly those with Excel 2. So with all that Great Nature has going for it, might be an okay time to pick up any cards that you need in high rarity, as I don't believe there are too many expensive ones, other than, of course, the staples we mentioned in our last broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
So in GBT03, now Keith, we talk about Karma Collector a lot because he tends to jump around a bit. But this time I think we're finally seeing the time when we don't have to follow this card much anymore, and he'll stop having random jumps. He has actually stayed consistent over the past 2 weeks and is still at 350. Why would anyone play Shadows other than Luard? Beats me.
Yeah, for the life of me, I don't know why this card hasn't just stayed at the price, and we continue to talk about it, because whoever is jumping this price around needs to stop and go home and reevaluate their decisions, because Ezreus is a card, and Karma Collector is not Ezreus.
I mean, Ezreus was like meta-defining how good it was.
Oh,
like
yeah.
just all
100%.
Those pieces together. Like, is Luard good? Yeah. Is Ezreus and Belial and the Stand Trigger good? Oh yeah. Those cards are real good. GBT04, some justified prices here. The Raphael Triple R now up to $20. This does not surprise me considering all of the Angel stuff we've seen, and Angel Gize still being a decently popular option in premium.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Actually, a lot of value popping out of GBT04 these past couple of weeks. Aerial Divine Knight Altmile up at 15. People are excited for premium royals again. Dream Spinning Ranunculus Asha, the Stride Asha from set 4, recently had a buyout and is now at $30. If you're planning to play New Nectar Premium, this is the worst possible time to buy in, I must tell you. It's not gonna. It will hopefully get better, but don't buy in now.
Yeah, I think people are, because of the Katrina Premium Collection Stride, the Asha pieces seem to work really well from what I gather with the standard deck, and especially when your plant tokens are basically a 30k volume. Pretty damn good.
So let's talk about a buyout that you're just going to shake your head at, Keith. Darkface Triple R from set 4, the grade 3. $16. Up from $6. He has 3 total prices available. Thoughts?
But why though? Just so. I mean, I guess you might run 1 or 2, but I've been testing Gridora with the new Gridora Stride, and there's like very few matchups you would want OG Darkface in them. And especially because you're not going to be running this in playsets. That much I know for sure. So I think this is just people trying to be preemptive and just buy out the market on this card.
I suppose, but it just doesn't seem like a particularly solid investment to me.
No, not at all. This is something that you should move quickly if you moved in on it.
And next stage, the GR, looking at about $10, moving around just slightly. There's some hype around Time Leap with the new... His name's not History Maker, but he looks like History Maker from the previous
History
collection.
Build.
Thank you. Yep, some hype around that. Time Leap, that's pretty much all it needed is Metallica Phoenix your whole field because you can.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Time Leap still suffers from the fact that Malum isn't a unit with Time Leap, which makes me ultra sad. That deck actually might have been able to get there if the power boost could have been given to Malum. But alas. Much alas.
Very much alas. Unless they also, they won't. But imagine if they printed something that said, give this unit Time Leap. But they have no opportunity or willingness to do so. So that dream is dead. There's also been a lot of talk around Pale Moon recently. Dragon Masquerade Hari has been jumping around and is now sitting at around $7, $7.40-ish. It's a staple in your premium Pale Moon deck, I must say. But it's nothing compared to, of course, the Purple Trapezist craziness that has been going on recently. In fact, I will give you an update on that right now as to how that is going. Because the answer is bad, but how bad? We're about to find out.
Survey says.
survey says, if you're looking for the BTO7 Purple Trapezist, you're looking at $15 a copy. And if you're looking at the promo card, you're looking at a complete and total buyout with a minimum price of $60 on TCG.
Ouch.
That's a lot of money to pay for a promo. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, the art is exactly the same. It's just different colors. And it's not rare foiled. I don't get it. But who am I? Who am I anyway? Just the guy that tells you about card prices.
It is a purple trapezist as opposed to the other one, which is like a green trapezist. But
she's got purple horns, I guess, and is like vaguely purple in the same way like Vati from the Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap was purple.
Oh yes.
It is an obscure non-Vanguard related reference. Enjoy. Next up on our list, we're going to hop on down to GBT06. Media Kaiser Victor poking his head out of the water at $5, saying, hello, would you like to buy me for my super awesome premium deck? I would very much appreciate that. Thank you. Mephisto is climbing up to $3, him and his Pale Moon brothers. And another Pale Moon card recently bought out. This one was just funny to me. Hoop Master. The double R was at one point earlier this week, through the weekend, $50. Now posted up for $13, much more reasonable, but still way too much considering the market price is still $1.15. And just so you're aware, at the same time the $50 price was up, the SP was $12. I would not be surprised if that got bought out by some, I would say, ill-fated investor.
Yeah, to say the least. I don't think this is run in the loop deck. I'm pretty sure it's not. And why? Just why? All kinds of why?
We just kind of shake our heads and pretend that we understand how Vanguardian speculation works. We do not know. We do not know. We can only guess and prepare you. Don't buy Hoopmasters.
Yeah.
That's our advice. GBTO7. Defeat Flare, the GR, has climbed his way back up to $760. RIP, the $15 GR G-Guard.
Yeah.
He is no more.
It's a little bit weird, that one, Ryan, because didn't he get the reprint in the Revival Collection?
No. Well, no. I don't believe he did. That was, unless he was. I must admit, the strides were much more interesting to me. And which G-Guards were reprinted. You know what, I can actually just look this up right now. Just to make sure you guys have all of the information you could possibly need or ever want. And yes, Keith, you're totally right. You want to know how much he is in the Revival Collection?
I'm going to say $1.
He is 25 cents. Buy your playset for $1. The GR, if you for some reason wanted alternate foiling instead of the pseudo SP, is the $760 card.
Well then.
So, just buy the Revival Collection one if you need the one of this card that you might run. Because remember, this card is not often run. Slimy Flare. With the premium golds still being all of the hype, much anticipated with the release of Excel 2. $15 for the cat herself.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good G-Guard, so it doesn't kind of surprise me too much.
That is true. And not reprinted. Blademaster Titan, $8. Still kind of trying to get in on the Blademaster hype, but I think Dote murdered that hype. And it's just become a core group of Blademaster people who are like, I feel like this could be good. I'm just really not sure yet, and I don't know how Titan would help me, and I don't know what I'm doing.
That sounds like a summation, I think.
We're going to find out. I think the results will speak for themselves. But hey, I do like me some Blademaster. In set 8, all of the main strides for those clans are seeing a little bit of an uptick. One Steeped Instant Sharat is now at $11. He is, of course, responding to Gasteel in the premium collection. Coming up in the future, Blazing Sword Fides is up to $663, and Glorious Reigning is $12. I mean, all of these cards are pretty good. All of these cards are worth running in whichever deck you want to run them in. So, respectable.
Yeah,
Respect.
I think these are all just kind of like logical upticks because they're all just running the G zone.
Yeah, I mean, they're not making many more. I have to say, cards that you can actually add to your GZ collection.
Yes.
And now brings us to the disappointment. Disaster Maelstrom, SP, $180. If you have any Disaster Maelstroms and you can trick somebody, I mean the SP, and you can trick somebody into buying them, I welcome you to do so, because damn.
I was just about to say I'm pretty sure I had a couple disaster maelstroms, but not SPs. And
No,
then I
I
was
mean
like, oh,
everybody had a
I'm sad now.
couple. Everybody pulled a couple Disaster Maelstroms and collectively went.
Yeah.
But in
But there
case,
goes the value in my box.
I mean, I will say that Disaster Maelstrom did double his price and is now up to 530 past 265. So
Okay. Respectable.
there you go. Enjoy your Disaster Maelstrom. This is the hype price.
Uh,
Oh gosh. All right, GBT 11. I'm just gonna skip a couple of sets here. Ziegenberg is still at 13. He's just palling around at that number. He probably won't go much more than that, considering that he was pretty easy to get. But I am glad that he finally got out of the $5 to $9 range. So thank you, Blade Master and Dote, for making that happen.
hmm
And Ganslot Peace Saver is $18. So again, a lot of pretty difficult to get Royal Streds are getting up there. If you're looking for something to invest in, Royals might not be great, but if you ever saw one and you had some standard crap to get rid of, or some other premium crap, even better, trade them in for some Royal Paladin GRs. These cards never seem to go down.
Yeah, but I think Brian, you'd be more served getting the Toasty SGR Gansalot that's in the Revival collection.
I mean, that is true. This is a card that was recently reprinted.
hmm
This was such a good reprint collection, all things
Yeah.
considered. I have to say again, they really got some good ones in here.
Oh, they definitely did. It wasn't all wins, but it was mostly wins, and that's what matters.
What's really surprising me is how Drachma is keeping his price in the air. We've got the $71
Wow.
GR from GBT 13 and then a $60 Revival Collection card. Like, it's not going down despite regularly being put down by players and, YouTubers alike as probably the worst of the Zeroth Dragons. Other than Dust, who got, like, hard nerfed twice.
Yeah.
Well, he got rulings clarification and then nerfed. So
Yeah.
this makes people sad, and yet, I mean, I guess Drachma's used in so many good premium decks that you can't really ignore him, and you have to have one, but you also don't have to have one. Like, it's only
Yeah, I
ever
think
there
that's
for the option.
yeah, I think that's just the kicker of it all. Is just you want to have the option, even though it's expensive. And technically speaking, he is the rarest Zeroth dragon yet. Like he has had the lowest amount of printings out of all the Zeroth dragons. And he is in a very popular nation, so I think that owes a little bit to his price.
I suppose so, but merit is due what it is due, as Ultima is more expensive at 75 from the Revival Collection, mind you. This is the reprint. It is 75.
Ouch.
But I am covering GBT 13, so I am getting just a bit ahead of myself. First, I have to talk about The Purge, who was, again, recently reprinted in the Revival Collection and is still $20.
Wow.
There was no stopping his hype train when Dote was released, and people had to have their purges. Now, granted, if you were to buy a purge, I recommend you do so in the Revival Collection, because that one looks very nice. And I simply
Oh
cannot
yeah, that
justify
that one
trading
was
out my
real
perfectly
nice.
functional purges for the more expensive reprint. Just so you're aware, the reprint is $24, $23 from Ideal, and the purge is 20 from the G.
Wow.
This one is blingalicious, and I don't say that lightly or ever. So you know it's true.
Mm.
Mr. Helios himself, pulling a comparable price. He is looking like a nice and toasty $12 card.
Okay,
Yeah, he
respect.
was up there just a few days ago, I must say. This is actually quite a drop from when I was tracking him earlier. But he is. People are trying to get rid of him. I think that Gergoit has about had his time in the sun, and even though some of his strides are great, and he's falling off in favor of the Azel build, which is just so superior at this point.
Hmm. Was that a purposeful pun placement right there, Ryan?
Of course it was. You know
Ah,
it
I
was.
hate you. I
Get
hate
out.
you.
Get out.
Yeah.
The Destiny, of course, the Purge's companion card. Debate is still rife whether or not you should run the Destiny, especially post Dote in standard, but he is $18, as well as multiple reprints and whatnots. Just in GBT 13, Alexandros GR $10. There's now a better way to get him, thankfully. The Gaia Emperor reprint $4.50. Agrius again $4, if I'm not mistaken. Gonna run a super quick check for you guys, as we did talk about this guy 2 weeks ago. I want to make sure you guys have the latest and greatest info, and he's now $5, so that was totally worth it. Thank you guys for waiting for my 30 seconds of TCG player searching. And GEBO2. Now this is my surprising set of the week, because a lot of the stuff in here is still holding value, despite the fact that you would not think that anything in here would hold value particularly well. Like, we're talking about the Zoo clans. And granted,
Wow.
Neonectar ruled the waifu roost inside of G-Era, so I gotta give them their credit. Valhamina, just the GR, is 22. Baloral is 14.50. Blue Asha is 20 a piece. Gridora Triple R is 14. And Collective Blooming Maiden Kara, the Triple R version, is 4.32. So honestly, there's a lot of good stuff to pull out here. I mean, we're talking about 3 Triple Rs that are still of reasonable value in a very old set, and 2 of the GRs are particularly worth mentioning.
Yep, that is a very respectable
And you
price
can
point
pull
for our
Zoa,
review.
which is still like a $45, $47 card. At
Exactly.
least 40. You can get an easy 35, 40 for that card. So, honestly, this is a good set to buy if you happen upon any packs or especially cheap boxes. If you can pick up one of these boxes for 35, you might actually make your money back, and that is saying something. GEBO3. Now, this set is one to watch just to see how well things hold their value. So, Bravest Peak Excalibur. The GR from this is $15, but it was reprinted in the Revival Collection and has a much cheaper version available. Just like Winning Champ Victor, the GR is 21 from the set, but the reprint makes it much cheaper. So what I'm seeing with these reprints is they're not actually really cheapening many of the cards, except for, of course, the double R G guards.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it seems like a lot of the normal prices haven't had time to adjust, despite the fact that this set is now 2 weeks old. You would think that people would be rushing to sell off their other copies of these cards. Like their Excaliburs, like the Winning Champ Victors that have now had a reprint. And yet, the prices still hold firm.
Yeah, it looks like maybe the market is stabilizing, question mark? Is that too much of a statement to be making right now?
I mean, I can't say so because the reprints are just coming in so much cheaper. I mean, we're talking about a large difference between, Winning Champ's GR form, for example, and his reprint form. And again, just give you guys the exact most recent numbers. The Winning Champ Victor from GEBO3 is the cheapest one available on TCG Low. Is $22, and the Revival Collection is a toasty $5.25. You can get this card very easily for a set of this card for this essentially the same price as one of the GRs, and yet the GR's prices haven't bottomed out quite yet.
Wow.
Which perplexes me.
Okay.
It seems science hasn't come to the Revival Collection quite yet, and we'll have to wait for that to stabilize. But certainly, I don't believe anyone's going to be buying the GRs anytime soon out of this set. Now,
I highly doubt it.
the real value card is Golsachi. He is $16, as everyone is now fawning all over Victor. Winning Champ became widely available, and he looks very dangerous with all of the support that Nova Grapplers, 1, getting in Standard, and 2, getting in the Premium Collection.
Yeah.
If you don't
Turns
have your
out that getting like
Golsachis,
10
you're
drives in a turn is actually pretty good.
pretty good. I would say so. I would say it's pretty good. And Zubat Battler Victor, again, this is the only place you can get him, is $12. So, Nova's definitely taking the win out of here. You'll notice there are no Link Joker cards on here, and that's kind of sad. Despite the fact that Messiahs are coming. They are coming. Now let's take a trip to our favorite technical booster, GTCB01. If you wanted a Gluttony Dogma SP, it's $83. Now, that is something you know now. Congratulations. Jumping right along to the second technical booster, Keith, you'll be happy to know that Obturandus GR is now $26.74. People are now looking at this card very seriously again.
Yeah, he's a really powerful but situational stride, and also very, very hard to get.
And before we jump into the ins and outs of the Revival Collection 2, which has a few more cards we haven't mentioned, there is one more buyout I'd like to talk about, and that is the Enigman Calm Double R buyout from G Character Booster 2. Now, people are really looking at D-Police again, as they have support coming up, and some decent stuff in the Premium Collection. But what about this card specifically do we really like, other than it has drop zone abilities?
Yeah, he has some sort of recurrence, doesn't he?
Yes.
I can't remember exactly how he works, but
he says, Burst, Drop Zone, GB2, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. At the end of the battle that your Vanguard with the Burst ability attacked, if that unit's power is 40,000 or greater, you may pay the cost. If you do, return this card to your hand, and if your Vanguard's power is 45,000 or greater, countercharge 1. So granted, he is a basically Soul Blast 1, get this card back to hand. And that could come in handy. But the fact of the matter is, it's fine, but it's not Ezra's,
Yeah,
it's about as close as they can get.
I don't think anything is any sort of Ezra's.
No, except for the Gear Chronicle version. That is
Ezra's.
Arca? Yeah, Arca is Ezra's. In any case, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for, the Revival Collection 2 review. Ultima is $75, Drachma is $60, Perfect Performance Ainge is $24, Gize is $23, Igorg is $22, so what changed? The Purge is $23 as opposed to his $20 counterpart, and Stillwater Ichishima is a comparable $10. So, that is what we've got.
Yeah.
That is what's going on. If you need stride fodders that look nice, they're all cheap. If you need G-Guards that you didn't have before, even though most of them weren't very expensive, they're all cheap. In fact, just to make sure I didn't miss anything, I'm going to search again, as it were, right now. And if you like the Revival Collection ZRs, the Zeroths, more than the regular prices, I'll just list those out for you too. Megiddo is $41, Zoa $42, and Stark $41, and Dust $37, because he is the worst now. Thanks, guys.
Poor Dust.
Poor Dust. Other than that, everything is under $24. So yay.
Yeah, the prices were brought down by this set.
I mean, there were a good few cards that were brought down here. Mostly the cards that were reprinted as triple Rs, so more apparent, and that's, of course, Bravest Peak X Gallop, Ichikishima, Virginal Cecilia, Winning Champ Victor, Balorol, Meta Pulsar, Altered Dragon. I know, well, actually, he was an SGR, but everyone was happy about that. He's the one you don't want to pull. Alexandros, Overwhelm. All of these a much lower price than they were before, so that's very nice. Gavriel Eden, Holy Sword of Heaven Light Gurguit, Dragobus Luard, V-Buster. Oh yes, that's the one you want. His toasty $3.
Oh yes.
I mean, everything is now pretty available, all things considered. If you didn't have the bought out expensive G-Guards, pretty much all of the good ones got reprinted. And a lot of the very useful strides are in here. So, Revival Collection, overall good thing if you're a buyer. If you held on to any big staples like these for value, you might be looking a little sad, but TCG Player is still your friend for now. If you can get somebody at your locals or a Springfest with the current price, I recommend doing so, just to cash out before your cards sink to about the same or a lower level, as we saw with the Purge. when compared to the Revival Collection, very nice foily counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
And so we look towards the future with. We'll continue watching how the Revival Collection performs. We'll continue watching how Premium Collection affects Revival Collection and other cards within the market. And of course, we'll be watching Standard for the new spoilers with Aquaforce, Grand Blue. I believe Dimension Police is coming up soon. We should start to see some spoilers. So it's going to be big, as all of those cards have very useful, very strong premium counterparts that we will be interested in. So thank you all so much for watching. This has been the Doombringer Griffin.
And the Irish God.
Signing off. Be sure, if you'd like cards, to go to the Magic Satchel. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.